Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another unboxing here on the Gobble S Gobble YouTube channel. Thank you again for joining us. Today we have a unique fat pack. It's one that I'm really interested and fascinated by because I myself is a D&D player, and now they combine it with the Magic world. So when this set originally came out, I was all goo goo gaga for it, and I can't blame it. So without further ado, let's get into our first pack. First one's going to be this one, the Forgotten Realms. Now this is one of the other boxes that was in the white box that we saw prior. So let's see what we uncover this time. First off, we have an Arcane Investigator. 2-drop, 2/1, Elf Wizard, search the room, 5-drop 6, roll a d20. 1 to 9, draw a card. 10 to 20, look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand and the rest at the bottom of your library in any order. Next we have Great Axe. 1-drop artifact equipment. Quick creature gets +4/+0, equip 5 cost. Next we have the Scaled Herbalist. 2-drop, 1 colorless, 1 forest, 1/3. Tap, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. Next, we have Ranger's Hawk. 1-drop white, 1/1, flying, tap 3, tap another untapped creature you control, venture into the dungeon. Activates only as a sorcery. Enter the first room or the advanced in the next room. We'll get to more what they mean by that, because there's actually these cards that are set up to be actual dungeon style, which is very interesting they'd go this angle with that, but we'll get in those after a minute. But let's keep going. It's a 3-drop, 2 colorless, 1 forest. You happen on a Glare. Instant, choose 1, journey on, search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle or make camp, return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. Next, we have the Warlock class. Enchantment class. Beginning of the next level as a sorcerer to add to its ability. First off, at the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, each opponent loses 1 life. Level 2 is a colorless, 1 black. 1 colorless black. When this class becomes level 2, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put one of them in your hand and the rest into your graveyard. Then level 3 is a 7-drop, 6 colorless, 1 black. At the beginning of your end step, each opponent loses life equal to the life they lost this turn. That's not pleasant at all. Then we have the Fancy Lands. Rare of the group is going to be Uten's Malisation. I butchered that name, so I apologize. It's a 2-drop, 1 colorless, 1 blue, 2/1. Creature, Snake Rogue. Oh, it's that race. Gotcha. It can't be blocked as long as it's attacking alone. Whenever it attacks, deals combat damage to a player, venture into the dungeon. We have a second rare. Is Diviner's Portent. X-drop, X colorless, 3 blue. Instant, roll a d20 and add the number of cards in your hand. 1 to 14, draw X cards. 15 plus, scry X, then draw X cards. So that could be an interesting angle there. Another rare, we have Dancing Sword. 2-drop, 1 colorless, 1 white. Artifact equipment. When a equipped creature gets +2/+1, when a equipped creature dies, you may have Dancing Sword become a 2/1 construct artifact creature with flying and Warn 1. If you do, it isn't an equipment. Next, we have the classic Null Hunter. 2-drop, 1 colorless, 1 forest, 2/2. Null. Pack Tactics. Whenever Null Hunter attacks, if you attack with creatures with total power 6 or greater this combat, put 1/1 counter on the Null Hunter. Next up, we have the Manticore. 4-drop, 3 colorless, 1 black, 2/1. We have Flying Flash and Tail Spikes. When Manticore enters the battlefield, destroy target creature an opponent controls that was dealt damage this turn. Next we have the X-Horn, classic character creatures. 3-drop, 2 colorless, 1 red, 3/2. If you would create 1 or more treasure tokens, instead create those tokens plus an additional treasure token. Then we have the Dire Wolf Prowler. 3-drop, 2 colorless, 1 green, 2/2. 1 colorless, green, tap. Dire Wolf Prowler gets +2/+2 and gains haste until end of turn. Activate only once each turn. Next we have Varus Silver Moon Ranger. 3-drop. Where were we? Ah, yes. Elf Ranger. It's a 3/3, 3-drop, 1 colorless, 2 green. Legendary creature, Human Elf Ranger. Reach, Ward 1. Whenever you cast a creature or a planeswalker spell, venture into the dungeon. This ability triggers only once each turn. Whenever you complete a dungeon, create a 2/2 green wolf creature token. Speaking of that 2/2 wolf creature token, there would be. So that was in the first pack of Forgotten Realm cards. Very, very nice. This is, again, this is an unboxing of the Dungeon series. So let's get in the actual fat pack now, as we were talking about earlier. It's got 10 boosters in it. It's also got a literal dungeon map card. They look like Vanguard cards, but it has a dungeon map on there, so that's kind of interesting. It's got a bunch of flashy and other stuff there. We'll get into that a minute later, and more lands as usual. But without further ado, let's get in the first pack and see how things come away. First up, we have Develer's Torch. 2-drop, 1 colorless, 1 white. Artifact equipped creature gets +1/+1. Whenever equipped creature attacks, venture into the dungeon. Enter the first room or advance to the next to the room. Next up is an equipped cost of 3. Next, we have the Horrid Robberer. 2-drop, 1 colorless, 1 black, 1/3. Whenever Horrid Robber deals combat damage to a player, create a creature token, and for those creature tokens, it's an artifact with tap, sack this artifact, add 1 mana of any color. So we have that. Next up, we have the Hill Giant Hertigorger. 6-drop, 4 colorless, 2 green, 7/6. When Hill Giant Hertigorger enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life. Next, we have Faradix Fireball. 5-drop, 3 colorless, 2 red, instant. Faradix Fireball deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker. Roll a d20. If you roll a 1 through 9 on the d20, Faradix Fireball deals 2 damage to each player, or 10 through 20 deals 2 damage to each opponent. So on top of that 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker, it's using an additional 2 damage to other things. Interesting. We have Charmed Sleep. 3-drop, 1 colorless, 2 blue, enchant creature. When Charmed Sleep enters the battlefield, tap enchant creature. Enchant creature does not untap during its next controller's untap step. Next, we have the Devoted Paladin. 5-drop, 4 colorless, 1 white, 4/4. Orc Knight. Beacon of Hope ability or mechanic. When Devoured Paladin enters the battlefield, creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain vigilance until end turn. Very nice. You come to the Null Camp. 2-drop, 1 colorless, 1 red, instant. Choose 1, intimidate them. Up to 2 target creatures can't block this turn, or fend them off. Target creature gets +3/+1 until end of turn. Next, we have a Pixie Guide. 2-drop, 1 colorless, 1 blue, 1/3, fairy, flying. grant an advantage. If you would roll one or more dice, instead roll that many dice plus one and ignore the lowest roll. Next, we have Rim Shield Frost Giant, 5-drop, 3 colorless, 2 blue, 4/5. Giant Warrior, Ward 3. When this creature becomes the battlefield, becomes the target of spells or abilities the opponent controls, counter it unless that player plays 3. That's what the Ward mechanic does in this set. Next, we have Devouring Intellect, 1-drop, sorcery, 1-drop, black. Target opponent discards a card. If mana from a treasure was spent to cast this spell, instead that player reveals his hand. You choose a non-land card from it, and that player discards that card. We have a nice little goblin token creature here. 1/1. Pretty cool. We have the Keen-Eared Sentry. 2-drop, 2/1, 1 colorless, 1 white. Human Soldier. You have Hexproof. Hexproof mechanic. You can't be the target of spells or abilities your opponents control. Each opponent can't venture into the dungeon more than once each turn. Next, we have a Hulking Bugbear. 3-drop, 1 colorless, 2 red, 3/3. Haste. Next, we have a Portable Hole. Everybody's favorite. Which is a 1-drop, white. When Portable Hole enters the battlefield, exile target non-land permanent and opponent controls with mana value 2 or less until Portable Hole leaves the battlefield. The rare of the group is the Den of the Bugbear land. It's if you control 2 or more other lands, Den of the Bugbear enters the battlefield tapped at a mountain. 4-drop, 3 colorless, 1 red until end of turn. Den of the Bugbear becomes a 3/2 red goblin creature with whenever this creature attacks, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token that's tapped and attacking. That's still a land. So, then we have another basic land. So, another interesting first pack. But we got plenty more to go, so let's quickly get the second one. First up, we have the Bazarin Dwarf. 2-drop, 1/3, 1 colorless, 1 red. Whenever you can roll 1 or more dice, Brazen Dwarf deals 1 damage to each opponent. That could be mean. 2-drop. Next one's the Arcane Investigator. 2-drop, 2/1, 1 colorless, 1 blue. Search the room, play 5, roll a d20. One we already mentioned this earlier. Draw a card or look at the top 3 cards of your library, depending on your roll. Next up is the Minimus Containment. 3-drop, 2 colorless, 1 white. Enchant non-land permanent. Enchant permanent is a treasure artifact with tap. Sack this artifact. Add 1 mana of any color and lose all its abilities. Next one is Precipitous Dwarf. 3-drop, 2 colorless, 1 black. Enchant Aura. Enchant creature. When the Dwarf enters the battlefield, venture into the dungeon. And enchant creature gets -2/-2. It gets -5/-5 instead as long as you've completed a dungeon. Next up is Find the Path. 3-drop, 2 colorless, 1 green. Enchant land. When Find the Path enters the battlefield, venture into the dungeon. Enchant land has tap to create 2 forests. Next up is the Hoarding Ogre. 4-drop, 3/3. 3 colorless, 1 red. Whenever Hoarding Org attacks, roll a d20. 1 through 9, create a treasure token. 10 through 19, create 2 treasure tokens. And 20, create 3 treasure tokens. Next up is you are ambushed on the road. 1-drop white. instant, choose one, make a retreat, return target creature you control to its owner's hand, stand and fight, target creature gets +1/+3 until end of turn. Next up will be the Owlbear, classic, 5-drop, 4/4, 3 colorless, 2 green, trample, keen sense. When Owlbear enters the battlefield, draw a card. Not only other very interesting set of mechanics in this set. The Plundering Barbarians next, 3-drop, 2/2, 2 colorless, 1 red, Dwarf Barbarian. When Plundering Barbarian enters the battlefield, choose one, smash the chest, destroy a target artifact, or pry it open, create a treasure token, and an artifact with tap, sack this artifact, and mana. Next up is the Prosperous Innkeeper, 2-drop, 1/1, 1 colorless, 1 green, Halfling Citizen. When the Innkeeper enters the battlefield, create a treasure token, and whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. Next, Fly, 1-drop, blue, enchant creature. Enchant creature has flying, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, venture into the dungeon. And then we have Indignus Smith, 2-drop, 1/1, 1 colorless, 1 white, human artifactor. When Ingenious Smith enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal any artifact card from among them and put them into your hand. Put the rest at the bottom of your library in a random order. Whenever one or more artifacts enter the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on Ingenious Smith. This ability triggers only once each turn. Next up, we have Nadazar, Selfless Paladin, 3-drop, 3/3, 2 colorless, 1 white, Dragon Knight, Vigilance. Whenever a Paladin enters the battlefield or attacks, venture into the dungeon. Other creatures you control get +1/+1 as long as you've completed a dungeon. Then we have an Underdark Basilisk, 2-drop, 1/2, 1 colorless, 1 green, Death Touch. And for those not familiar with Death Touch, it deals damage to, when you get dealt damage to it, you at the end of combat die. We have a basic Swamp, and here's one of those dungeon cards we were talking about. Essentially, you do a dungeon while you complete a dungeon while playing D&D. So it's an interesting concept, and it's on the back of a Goblin token. So, interesting. Let's see what is it different maps. Nope, that one's supposed to the Mad Mage. So, interesting. Next up, actually, I gotta put the rares over the rares. There. So, alright, let's continue. Next up, we have the Air Cult Elemental, 6-drop, 2/5, 4 colorless, 2 blue, fly, Whirlwind. Whenever Air Cult Elemental enters the battlefield, return up to 1 other target creature to its owner's hand. Next, we have Fate's Reversal, 2-drop, 1 colorless, 1 black, sorcery. Return up to 1 target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Venture into the dungeon. Next up, we have the Planar Ally, 5-drop, 3 colorless, 2 blue, 3 colorless, 2 white, 3/3. Whenever Planar Ally attacks, venture into the dungeon. Next, we have another Scaled Herbalist, Shocking Grasp, classic, 2-drop, 1 colorless, 1 blue. Target creature gets -2 plus -0 until end of turn. Draw a card. The Yantin Fang Blade, 3-drop, 2/2, 2 colorless, 1 black, Snake Rogue. Whenever Yutai Fang Blade deals combat damage to a player, venture into the dungeon. Next, you have a Spare Dagger, 1-drop, colorless, Equipped creature gets +1 and has, whenever this creature attacks, you may sacrifice spare dagger. When you do, this creature deals 1 damage to any target. Next up, we have the Goblin Javelineer. 1 drop, 1 red, 1/1 haste. Whenever Goblin Javelineer becomes blight, it deals 1 damage to attacking to target a creature blocking it. Classic magic card, Evolving Wilds. Land drop, sack Evolving Wilds, search your library for a basic land card, put it onto your battlefield tap, then shuffle. Next, we have the Lurking Roper. 3 drop, 4/5. Lurking Roper doesn't untap during your untap step. It's a horror. Whenever you gain life, untap, loot your Lurking Roper. Next, classic, Ray of Frost. 2 drop, 1 colorless, 1 blue. Enchant Aura, Flash, enchant creature. When a Ray of Frost enters the battlefield, if enchant creature is red, tap it. As long as enchanted creature is red, it loses all abilities, and enchanted creature does not untap during its controller's untap step. Next, the other classic, Magic Missile. I'm surprised. I could see it being red, but it's a 3 drop, 1 colorless, 2 red. This spell can't be countered. Magic Missile deals 3 damage. Divide any way you choose among 1, 2, or 3 targets. We have the Minion of the Mighty. 1 drop. Oh, what's a rare? 1 drop. It's Kobold. 0/1. 1 red. Menace. Pack Tactics. Whenever Minion of the Mighty attacks, if you attacked with creatures with total power 6 or greater, this combat you may put a dragon creature card from your hand onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking. That's not pleasant at all. God damn. Next, we have a second rare, which is Delina, Wild Mage. 4 drop, 3/2, 3 colorless, 1 red. Elf Shaman. Whenever Delina Wild Mage attacks, choose target creature you control, then roll a d20. 1 to 14, create a tapped and attacking token that is a copy of that creature, except it's not legendary and it has exile this creature at the end of combat. But if you roll a 15 to 20, create 1 of those tokens, roll again. Next, we have another basic forest. And then we have the Mordekin. It's an emblem. You have no maximum hand size. So, put him over there, over there. Okay, on to the next one. Next up, we have the Herald of Hadar. 5 drop, 4/4, 4 colorless, 1 black. Human Warlock. Circle of Death, 6. Roll a d20. 1 through 9, each opponent loses 2 life. 10 to 19, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. And roll a 20, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Create 2 treasure tokens. So that could be interesting. Next, we have Spoils of the Hunt. 3 drop, instant, 2 colorless, 1 green. Target creature you control gets +1/+0 until end of turn for each mana from a treasure that's spent to cast this spell. Then that creature deals damage equal to its power to target creature or an opponent controls. Next, we have a Dueling Rapier. Artifact, 1 drop, red. Flash, whenever Dueling Rapier enters the battlefield, attach it to target creature you control. Equipped creature gets +2/+0. Next, we says Bar the Gates. 3 drop, 2 colorless, 1 blue. Counter target creature or planeswalker spell, venture into the dungeon. Next up, we have the Half-Elf Monk. 4 drop, 1/4, 3 colorless, 1 white. Vigilance, Stunning Strike, pay 2, 1 colorless, 1 white, tap target creature. Next, we have the Hired Hexblade. 2 drop, 2/2, 1 colorless, 1 black. Elf Warlock. When Hired Hexblade enters the battlefield, its mana from a treasure was spent to cast it. You draw a card and you lose 1 life. Next up, we have you find the villain's lair, 3-drop, 1 colorless, 2 blue, choose one, foil their scheme, counter target spell, or learn their secrets, draw 2 cards, and discard 2 cards. Next up, we have a celestial unicorn, 3-drop, 3/2, 2 colorless, 1 white. Whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on the celestial unicorn. Next, we have the Null Hunter, 2-drop, 2/2, Null. Pack Tackets, whenever Null Hunter attacks, if you attack with creatures with power 6 or greater this combat, put a 1/1 counter on the Null Hunter. Nice. Next, we have the Spiked Pit Trap, classic. 1-drop, colorless. Pay 5, tap, sack, pipe pit, choose target creature, then roll a d20. 1 through 9, Spike Pit deals 5 damage to target damage to that creature. 10 to 20, Spike Pit Trap deals 5 damage to that creature. Create a treasure token. Next up, we have the Lightfoot Rogue, 2-drop, 2/1, 1 colorless, 1 black. Halfling Rogue, sneak attack. Whenever Lightfoot Rogue attacks, roll a d20. 1 through 9, Lightfoot Rogue gains Death Touch until end of turn. 10 through 19, it gets +1/+0 and gains Death Touch until end of turn. Or 20, get a +3/+0 and gain First Strike and Death Touch until end of turn. That's pretty cool. Next up, we have a Grim Wanderer, 2-drop, 5/3, 1 colorless, 1 black, flash, tragic backstory. Casts this spell only if a creature died this turn. Next, we have everybody's favorite, Bag of Holding. 1-drop artifact. Whenever you discard a card, exile that card from your graveyard. Pay 2, tap, draw a card, then discard a card. Or pay 4, tap, sack Bag of Holding, return all cards exiled with Bag of Holding to their owner's hand. That's pretty cool. Next, we have a rare Paladin class. Enchanted. 1-drop white. Spells your opponents cast during your turn cost 1 more to cast. Next one, level 2 is creatures you control get +1/+1, and level 3 is a 5-drop, level 3. Whenever you attack until end of turn, target attacking creature gets +1/+1 for each other attacking creature and gains double strike. Interesting. Then we have another basic land and another mini map of Tome of the Annihilation. Another really quick dungeon, looks to be, with a token legendary creature, God Hoarder, or God Horror? I have no idea. It's a 4/4 God Hoarder, so horror. So interesting. 4/4 Death Touch. That's interesting. Okay, we got 6 more to go. Let's continue on the adventure. Next, we got Bull Strength, classic spell. 2-drop, 1 colorless, 1 green. Target creature gets +2/+2 and gains trample until end of turn. We have Boots of Speed, 1-drop, red. Equipment, equipped creature gets +1 and has haste. Equip 1. Next, another Shocking Grasp. Another planar ally. The Eye of the Beholder. Nice. 6-drop, 4 colorless, 2 black. Instant. Target creature gets -11/-11 till end of turn. God damn, but the graphics is beautiful on that card. Next, we have a Silver Raven. Artifact creature. It's a 1-drop, blue. 1/1 flying. Whenever Silver Raven enters the battlefield, scry 1. For those that are not confused with what don't know scry 1 is, look at the top card of your library. You may put that card on the bottom of your library, if you choose. We pulled another Manticore. Next, we have Leather Armor, a 1-drop artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +0/+1 and has Ward 1. And equipped 0 activates only once each turn. Next, we have another Goblin Javelineer. Next, we have a Critical Hit. 2-drop, 1 colorless, 1 red.